about faith for a credit card. No, credit card faith. You would never dream about what I'm talking about. So there's only one way to find out. You gotta stay tuned. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay? All right.
On this rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Abundant Life Cathedral Church, the church of tomorrow today. A ministry that is building the people that shape the world.
Hey everybody, it's Yolanda and welcome to Dr. Ed's Sensational Sundays. I am so excited to give you the wow moments this year, words of wisdom. Pastor is often telling us how we need to build, and we've been doing that for 40 plus years. Thank God. Oh my word. But how are you going to build your life in 2022? I know we're already here. It's almost, 3 weeks now. Whoa. But how are you going to build your 2022? I can give you a couple of building blocks. We're going to work first quarter of the year. We're going to talk about the building blocks of a better life. Can you say that with me? Building blocks of a better life. And we have to have a firm foundation. That foundation is so important. We here at ALC, we believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ. So we have a firm, sure foundation. So I'm excited about the word. So let's get into the word from Dr. Ed.
If there's anything I got to say about Yolanda Adams with these clips, I love them. Thank you for just wowing us and just giving us those moments of inspiration. We call them words of wisdom, words of wealth. They could be anything, but I know one thing. They're wow. So thanks, Yolanda. I really appreciate it. What we do with faith is going to be so important in the moments that we have in our life right now. Because I'm going to tell you what's happening in this world. And I don't want to go too far into all of the negative things that are going on. But I know there's one thing. That if you don't have real kind of faith. Now, it's going to be hard for me to explain this right now because I'm getting ready to, first of all, erase the total definition of what we might think faith is and stretch this rubber band and then bring it back. But when I bring it back, you're going to understand what I'm saying, and it's going to open your life up like never before. Don't go, don't scroll, don't do anything. As a matter of fact, you probably want to hit that share button and share it with a friend or family member so that they can say, oh, wow, this changes everything. Thank you for your comments, because your comments let me know where you are and where you're coming from, and hit that follow button right up there, because the follow button makes sure that you will be available the next time we come up with another video. It'll let you know. Now, all of the things that are going on in our world right now, voting rights, elections, the things they're calling the big lie, the things they're saying, this is not real, this is not legal. CRT, yeah, that's the critical race theory they're doing in school. What's happening with teachers? We can go down the list, and all of it, for some reason or another, seems to be attacking the essence of how people see themselves. Whether they see themselves as above everybody else, in control of everybody else, or they see themselves under other people. Because if you are taught that, well, we're just trying to find Jesus and hopefully Jesus will help us and Jesus will bless us from the sky, you're going to always be not only dependent upon what's in the sky or what you've been told is in the sky, and you will never really have the confidence concerning what's inside of you. Because you see, faith-wise, we were never really taught about what's inside of us. We were taught that faith is this object, that faith is actually a noun. It is a commodity. It is something we have, something that we can possess. And if we have enough of it to fill up a glass, if it's a glass, if we only have a half thing of faith, then we only got half faith. Well, if we got a fourth in there, we only got a fourth of faith. And so, well, maybe 75% of faith. Jesus says if you have the faith of a grain of mustard seed, a very tiny thing, Jesus said you'll be able to move mountains. So, how much is mountain moving faith? Jesus says it's a grain of a mustard seed. But what if I have half a glass of faith? Isn't that more than a mustard seed? If that's more than a mustard seed, then I got more than enough faith to be able to move a mountain. Why can't I move a mountain? Well, Jesus is talking about figurative mountains. He's talking about metaphorical mountains. It's hyperbole, hypothetical mountains. Well, no, Jesus, when he was talking to his disciples 2,000 years ago, was saying, you shall say to yonder mountain. In other words, Jesus was not mincing words. When he said, you shall say to that mountain, he literally meant, Jesus was a mystic, Jesus was very metaphysical, but he meant that mountain. There is enough power in the faith that Jesus was talking about to enable you to move it. Now, maybe we are not there yet, or maybe there's no reason to move it, because we might move the mountain and move it instead and cast it into the sea. Throw the mountain in the sea. If we threw the mountain in the sea, we'd say, oh boy, did I have enough faith. I just lifted up the mountain from the ground and threw the mountain in the sea. And then we forgot, when you threw the mountain in the sea, you should have stopped the waters, because it would have created, if you throw the mountain in the sea, it will create what? A tidal wave. And the tidal wave will come up and wash everybody away, and nobody will ever know that you put the mountain in the sea. See, that's why you don't put that kind of stuff in the hands of human beings. It takes some thought about this. So there's something about this noun kind of faith, this noun faith, that's not quite what it should be. That's a commodity. And we've been taught that you have to have this. So mentally, what we have been doing is constantly getting as much faith as we can. Last week we talked about Romans chapter 10, verse 17. Faith or trust comes by hearing by the word of God. And we were taught that you have to become hearing, you have to become understanding. That brings about this thing about trust. We replace the word faith with the word trust. So let me kind of go back. Here's what happened early in religion, back in the 1800s. First of all, one of the biggest blows to religion took place during something that was called the Scopes trial. It was what they call the Scopes monkey trial. And they were talking about evolution. And the church was saying that the earth was 6,000 years old. And this has to do with Charles Darwin and things of that sort. And they were also teaching, the other side was teaching about evolution. See, there's always been this big fight between the church and science. So the church people were saying, the earth is 6,000 years ago. Old God made the earth 6,000 years ago. The other people who said there's something called evolution says, well, if the earth is 6,000 years old, what are these bones? dinosaurs? What are these other bones, which are human beings over in Africa, 20,000 years old, 30,000, 40,000, 100,000 years old? Where are you getting these bones from? And the church people are saying, well, maybe they were demons. Maybe there was something. Well, I don't know, but God made the earth 6,000 years ago. There was nothing here. God spoke the earth into existence. Well, did God speak the earth into existence? Did he speak it? Did it take time to evolve? What is the true thing? Well, after that Scopes trial, actually the evolutionist kind of people won it. The church really, they kind of made the church look like a bunch of backwards people that did not do their research. And the church kind of scurried off with the tail between the legs because they felt bad about this. This was a blow that was dealt to the church years ago. After that, they came back, and the goal was they built their Bible schools, they built their Bible churches. That's where you see many of the phrases in churches called Bible churches, because they had to get everybody back to the Bible. If they got them back to the Bible, and that they can teach that there is no problem with the Bible, the Bible has no mistakes in it, everything in the Bible is true, and they had to get everybody back to the Bible. Just like the scientists had everybody looking at science. Now, I don't want to get off into this geek stuff. But a part of me, when I was growing up, and I'll never forget, in high school, I wanted to be an astronomer. I wanted to be in science. So, of course, I'm going to have a tendency to look at the Bible, look at Scripture, look at things not only in a literal sense, but also in a metaphorical sense. I'm going to look at things in paraphrasing. I'm also going to look at things from a scientific mind, from evidence. When I look at the earth, I just don't see the earth as the center of all activity, because the earth is only a little pale blue dot sitting on the outer edge swirl of the Milky Way galaxy. In other words, in the middle of a universe that is billions of years old. That would take over 93, is it trillion light years, I believe? 93 million light years, I believe. In order to go from one end to the other, if you were traveling at the speed of light at 186,000 miles per second. Now, if that's the case, Earth is only several million years old. No, is it? I think it's billion. Yeah, Earth is billion years old. Several billion years old. And over time, we have watched this planet develop. So when you try to do that, and then, but do I believe the Bible? Then are we trying to make ourselves believe that God created everything within 6,000 years? Or science is showing different bones and evidences that certain things happen. Not only that, but we're getting biblical evidence. The pool of Bethesda that was dug up. We're looking at things in different times. The city where the walls of Jericho were dug up were not dug up at the same time as we thought it was chronologically in the Bible. The Bible is not a chronological book. The Bible is a compilation of several books. Imagine like going into a library and seeing a lot of books on one shelf and a lot of books on another shelf. In the Bible is 39 books in the Old, 27 books in the New, and so they're all different books, but they're not all connected chronologically. Now, with all that said, when we are told to have faith, what are we told to do? In religion has a tendency to say, well, that means you must believe that every single thing that you see, that you read, that you take in is true. Don't doubt it. Don't overthink it. None of that. You must have faith. And so we have a tendency to take as much as we can in so that I can have faith that God did this at that particular time. But we are a generation that is different from our great-great-grandparents. how they saw God, how they saw the Bible, how they saw life 2,000 years ago, how 3,000 years ago, how King David saw life, how the disciples we see saw life. Jesus would do things, and then the disciples would say, I don't understand that. And Jesus would say, there are a lot of things I'd love to tell you, but you can't bear them all. And we find ourselves trying to get enough faith to believe something. I'll never forget, and I pull it from my own experience. This is something that I've learned over time and from my own life. I remember acting in that particular manner, thinking in that particular manner. My family, we didn't have a car. My car was, well, we had it, but it was not a car. It was a R, which means that it didn't work the way it should. The muffler, I had a coat hanger holding the muffler up to the car so it wouldn't drag on the ground. I'd go out, every time I'd go out to start the car, I'd be praying, and be praying in tongues and just hopefully that the car would start. Some of y'all praying in tongues now to make sure your car will start. So you know what I'm talking about. And it may not be your car, but it could be the washing machine. It could be a whole lot of things. And so I decided we were in Dallas at that particular time, and I was walking up the street where there were car dealerships all over the place, and I was just walking from one to the other. And I would walk in, and I was saying, I was trying to get up enough faith to be able to get a car. I never get walking in one place. The man says, what you looking for? And I said, I want this. And so the guy says, okay, well, here's a good car over here. He says, you want to feel it? You want to take a spin? I said, yeah. And the guy jumped in and took the car and told me to get in the passenger seat. And he got in the driver's seat and started driving around. I said, it's got an automatic this and an automatic that. And he turned down the street and around the corner and everything, brought me back and everything. Says, let's go on inside and make a deal. I said, I had no way to make no deal. And anyway, I said, well, I'll come back later. The guy said, yeah, okay. And I'll never forget how bad I felt that moment. Let me tell you why I felt bad. I wanted a car. Why didn't the guy give me the keys to let me drive? And he sat in the passenger seat. So I felt devalued. He could have told me, now push that button, that'll happen. Do that. Hey, take it around the corner. See how you feel. Because you see, if you're going to sell somebody something, let me not only believe I got it, but I want to feel it. I want to, they got an old thing that say, see it with your mind and feel it with your behind. In other words, if you're going to get in that car, I want to feel the car in my seat. I want to feel along with my faith because I believe that faith is a commodity. But here is what I learned. Faith is not a commodity. Faith. If you tell anybody in religion I said this, I'm going to have to, I don't know. I may own up to it. Faith is not as much of a noun as it is a verb. Really, what you should always do with faith is add ing to it. Faithing. What are you doing? I'm faithing. It is a verb. And this is what our ancient text reveals to us. I call this a dynamic living lesson. This is what this lesson says. And it comes out of Mark chapter 9. Let's pull the book of Mark off the shelf. Okay? Open it up. Comes out of this space we call the New Testament. Mark was a guy that wrote this about 50 or 60 years after Jesus had left the earth. And he wrote this down. And Comes out of chapter 9 and around verse 17 and on from there. You can read it. And the story is about a man who had a son, and the son was going through some mental challenges. At that particular time, they believed in the power of the demonic. They believed in demons. And Jesus had just left the mountain with 3 of his disciples. They had been up into a mountain. They were coming down, had had an awesome experience. It's like going to church, having a good experience, having a powerful, wonderful, you just feel good. And as soon as you come down from that, you find out something is wrong. It's like going to a party, feel good, pick up the phone, somebody says, you better come home, something's going on. They come down. Jesus looks out over and, at the end of the mountain, and he sees his other disciples who have been left at the bottom of the mountain going through arguments with the religious people of that particular time. See, this is what I'm saying. And the religious people were downing the disciples because the disciples evidently could not do the miracles powerful as Jesus was known to do it. And they were twisting the disciples' words. They were taking the disciples' beliefs and they were arguing back and forth. It's like what's going on out in our world today. You know, we talk about voting rights and people say, well, you got the right to vote. Yeah, you have the right to vote. But in one community, you might have 100 people and one voting box. But in the other community, you got 100,000 people and you want to put one voting box in. It's not that they don't have the right to vote. It's that these people got to go to work. If they stand in line, it can take 4 hours to vote. They stand in line over here, it can take 4 minutes. So yeah, you got the right to vote, but you're squashing that right by making it harder. In other words, so you're twisting the words. Oh, you have the right to vote, but you're twisting it. And this is what the religious people of that particular time were doing with the disciples. They were Jesus was teaching them. He was their mentor. So Jesus goes over here and he asks the people. He opens up. See, and that's why we got to start opening up our mouths and says to religious leaders of that time, what are you doing? What are you talking to my disciples about? No, don't down my children and talk about, well, that's critical race theory. Don't down the teachers. Well, if you teach this, parents are going to tell on you. If you want to come after me, come after me. Come after the leaders of our community instead of trying to come after people dealing with masks and COVID. Come after the leaders of the community. Say it to our face. And I'm not talking about anybody, race or anything. What I'm talking about are people in our community that want to be powerful over other people. And so Jesus says to them, talk to me. What's going on? And so out of the crowd, a man comes up and he says, sir, he says, my son is hurt. My son is going through these mental changes. And they used the term, there was a demon. Jesus, understanding these things, said, okay. And Jesus asked the question, how long has it been? Has he been like this? And the father turns around and says to him, all of his life. Have compassion on us. In other words, we have been going through this all of our lives. His mother and I, our family. How many of you have been going through things in your life, week after week, month after month, something that just doesn't feel like it's going away? I want to tell you something. People ask me, how you doing? And I say, fine. How you doing? Cool. How you doing? Hey, walking the walk, talking the talk. But sometimes when people ask me that question, don't feel like I'm walking the walk or talking the talk. Don't feel like God's man of faith and power. Sometimes when I say I'm fine, I almost want to take the E off it and say I feel like I'm finished. And put that word in there. Because sometimes you feel like you're going through hell and you think other people going around through life and don't even care how you feel. They're just using that word. Maybe, if you told them, well, how you feel? And you say, I'm going through hell today. Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, well, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'll talk to you later. Try that. See if people really care. I shouldn't be like that. People really care. They do care. People who care about you most are the people that are closest to you. Always remember that there's only a certain group of people that are going to be in your corner and in your hand. That's why you don't always throw your pearls out there, because everybody is not always for you. Some people, that's why you don't answer everybody. Anyway, come back off that rabbit trail. Jesus says to the Father, how long has it been? The Father says all of his life. And the Father says to Jesus, can you do anything for him? And Jesus says to the Father, and here is where it comes. He says, believe that I can do this. Believe I can make this happen. Can you believe this? This is how we read it. And the Father answers with that old, that you've heard it. Some of you have been in church, you've heard it. If you haven't, don't worry about it. It'll still translate the same. And the Father says, Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. Now, here is how we translate that in this day and age. Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. We're saying, Lord, I have 70% of belief. I need you to give me 30%. Or Lord, I got 20% belief. You got to give me 80%. I don't have all the belief I need to make this work. That's how we think in this day and age. That is not what the man was saying. That is not what Jesus was asking. And if we understand what Jesus was asking and what the man was answering, then we're going to understand how we got the miracle. And I'm going to tell you that in a minute. Look, normally I share at this point in time when we receive when we give. And when I share with people how important it is to give concerning the work that we're doing. And we usually have a little spot because I don't like to talk about it too long, and it's a lot easier to do it that way. But let me just say this while I'm just talking to you one-on-one. If you will take a moment and go to myalc.org. It's myalc.org. This is our main giving site. This is where you can click the donation button and give. Or maybe you can take a moment and use what I call text to give. Text to give is where you can take your phone and you can text 713-742-2035. That number is going to be on your screen for a while. And you can text that and put the amount that you want to give right inside that message. And hit that send button. And if it's your first time doing it, not only will it give us a record to know that you're out there, but it'll also help you to do it real fast. If you're on our app, of course, you can press that button right now and you won't even leave the space that we're in right now. You can give right there, and as soon as you give, it'll only take about 60 seconds. And you're right back into this message. Look, I'm not saying to have a lot of faith to give. What I'm saying, giving takes the ability to say, I hear what you're saying, and I believe that what you're saying has some value. We're about to go back into our building, and we'll be online as well as in-house. And it is going to be very important that we do something in such a way that we continue to build people up. Not just their faith, and don't worry, I won't talk about it, but build people up. So I'm asking you, take this moment. Give. If you're watching this by rebroadcast, you can give as if you were watching this live. Not only will it make a difference to help us, but it's going to do something for you on the inside, to know that you've given to something that is touching the lives of hundreds and thousands of people. And not only that, what we give comes back to us in a flow over and over again. So I just want to take a moment to tell you that. Because when we're living in the world we're living in now, let me get back to what I was saying. This is how you get through the hell you go through. It will take this kind of faithing. All right. Here is how I can explain this whole thing about faithing. And here's how it works. Imagine you fall in love. And let's not use falling in love. Let's say you're hooking up with somebody that you just like. And there you are together. Matter of fact, I think Valentine's Day is coming up this in a few weeks. And the person gives you a card and you say, wow. And they say, you believe in me, baby? Oh yeah, I believe in you. And they give you some roses. You believe in me, baby? Oh yeah, I believe in you. Maybe you give him some candy hearts that say, I love you on the hearts. Baby, you believe in me? Oh yeah, baby, I believe in you. And you whatever you want. If you believe in me, give me a kiss. And you give him a kiss. If you believe in me, baby, give me a hug. And you give him a hug. And you're in love with this person because whatever they want, you're going to give them. I don't know, maybe I need to take this to Dr. Ed's place and finish it. But no, I can finish it here. And then they say something to you like this. If you believe in me, can I use your credit card? And all of a sudden, you're Mama. Baby, can I use your credit card? For what? Baby, just, baby, look, it's me. Trust me. And you say, wait a minute. Why did you say, wait a minute? Why did you stop? Why did you halt? Why did your wonderful euphoric moment come to an end? Because they asked you to use your credit card, what you work for, what you pay the monthly bill on, what you have a limit on, what goes on your credit report. This ain't about no hearts, flowers, and cards. This ain't about no love. This is about my credit card. What's the difference from believing in somebody that you believe they love you, you believe they're going to kiss you, you believe they're going to want to spend your life with you, believe all that, but then when it comes to credit cards, you say, wait. Because you see, to get the hearts and the cards and the flowers and the wonderful kisses, all it takes is for you to believe that they're real. The credit card You ain't giving it up like that because you don't trust them. Credit card faith is you give somebody your credit card when you trust them. You can believe in a person, but it takes trust to hand over that credit report and stuff. And this is what happened with Jesus. This is what Jesus was asking this man for. Not do you believe in me, not do you try to get 30% of your mind to accept that I'm powerful or I'm a miracle worker. And man say, well, if you'll help me 70% of the way, then I can meet you. Help my unbelief. Jesus saying, trust me. And the man is saying to Jesus, Lord, and you see the tears, I trust you. But this is my child. If I put my child in your hands, Jesus saying, put the child in my hands. And the man say, you got to help me here. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to work. Because Jesus was asking the man, don't believe in me. Don't ask a bunch of facts about me. Trust me. See, if you go fast forward, the disciples came to Jesus later and brought him into the house and sat him down and said, Lord, why couldn't we cast that demon out? You did. Why couldn't we? Jesus says, this kind only comes through fasting and prayer. And actually the word fasting and prayer is actually in italics. But fasting and prayer does not build faith. You know that. Faith comes by hearing by the word of God. We went through that last week. Fasting and prayer. Why would fasting and prayer be important to the kind that was needed? Whatever the kind of whatever that thing it was that was needed. Jesus was saying, trust. Fasting means discipline. Prayer means union. Trust comes from prayer and union. Trust comes from discipline and union. It don't come by merely going to church and hearing the preacher say something and say, do you believe what I said? No. This is credit card faith. This is handing over your credit card. And baby, what that takes is not faith. That takes faithing. This doesn't take belief. This takes trusting. Now, what are you dealing with in your life that is so traumatic or that you can't talk about? You can't tell. You can't say anything. It is something that even is trying your trust. Here's what Jesus is saying. If you want to make this mountain move, you're going to have to trust me. Even though it's dark, even though it seems unreal, even though everything is against you doing it, trust God. And just throw up your hands. Lay back. Just like you lay back on that sofa and you believe that sofa won't go back down to the floor. And lay back on God. And trust. Ladies and gentlemen, this is here where this kind of credit card faith, where your life will change. You haven't seen the miracles until you see those that come through trust. Look, my time is up. I gotta go. But I'm not done with it. I'm gonna be teaching this, and I'm gonna be soon putting a series together on Dr. Ed's place. make sure you sign up for it, okay? All right. Bye. Hey, this is Dr. Ed. We've been on this journey for over 40 years. Some have been there with us for almost 40. Some have just started this journey with us. But what we've been able to do is help people to find joy, peace, enlightenment. They have grown tremendously, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and it's all because of your contributions, your help, our journey on this road. Take a moment, make a contribution at myalc.org. That's myalc.org. That's our website. That's our main place where you're even able to watch our show on Sunday mornings. Not only that, but you can also give through our app. And you can download that app from Google Play, or you can download it from the App Store by just typing in Abundant Life Center, or you can type in Ed Montgomery and the Abundant Life Center app will pop up and you can download it. It only takes a few moments, and you can have that way. You can carry us with you on your phone and your iPads and all those kind of good things. Not only that, but you can also do text to give. That's very popular because people are able to give if they forget to be on their website or their app. They can just give right on the spot, real fast, real quick. Sometimes they do text to give even when we're inside of a church service. And you can do that by texting to 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. Or you could give through our P.O. Box, safe, sound, secure. You can give, you can make sure you put a stamp on the envelope, but you can, write us a little note, drop me a little note, whatever you want to do, and mail it. There are some folks that's just, hey, I'm just going to mail this. And you can mail your contribution, and that's to the Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas 77215. I'm going to say it again. That's that old radio thing. You got to say it twice. Abundant Life Center, P.O. Box 772-300, Houston, Texas 77215. Continue on this journey with us. And if you're new for the first time, start this journey with us. I promise you, not only will it change your life, but you'll change the life of so many around you. And that'll make you feel real good inside. Thanks.